top military commanders from Ethiopia's government and the Tigray People's Liberation Front signed an agreement on how to implement a potential peace deal seeking to put an end to the bloody two-year conflict there. And at the center of attention at the moment, efforts to protect civilians and facilitate the delivery of humanitarian aid to this region of more than 5 million people. And I am delighted to welcome now in studio Ethiopia's ambassador to Israel, Mr. Reta Alemu. Thank you so very much, sir, for coming here in studio and sharing your insights and analysis on the current state of affairs. So let's begin with the latest disarmament set to begin today. What can you tell us?
Well, as you know, in accordance with the peace deal, there are 5 elements into that. One is a cessation of hostilities, then a permanent ceasefire. There is also the disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration.
Yes.
And then there is an element of humanitarian assistance, and also the element of transitional justice. So the peace deal has a whole set of package.
Yes, of course.
As a part of that, the commanders, the military commanders have agreed on the DDR program, the disarmament, demobilization, reintegration program, and they have sorted out the details on how it would be implemented. So it kicked off.
Yes, it is starting, but the challenges are still ahead. And as mentioned, humanitarian aid is taking the focus now. And before we continue, I want us to take a listen to what lawyer Ellie told our own i24NEWS colleague short days ago about the prospect or lack thereof of international community, generally speaking, in Israel in particular, of helping Ethiopia. Let's take a quick listen and get your take right after.
Need to ask what's the objective of the ceasefire. The objective of the ceasefire from the government side, the Ethiopian government side, is to get financial aid from World Bank and any other financial organizations, because the Ethiopian economy is under crisis. Secondly is to weaken the Tigrayan defense forces. This is the government side. The Tigrayan side is to break the siege and to get humanitarian aid, because people are suffering for more than 2 years. People dying every day. The problem is that because of these objectives from the government side, they're already running a propaganda that talking only about the disarmament of the Tigrayan defense forces. For the Ethiopian public, and not telling the truth that the problem is the economic problem. So it's very hard to say that this is a serious agreement.
Mr. Ambassador, your thoughts after what we've heard?
I don't know the status of this person.
Yeah.
I mean, and how he is referring to the agreement. The agreement clearly outlines objectives and the principles. As indicated in the agreement, the objective of this agreement basically is, to permanently end the conflict,
right,
and restore constitutional order in the region, in Tigray region. That's the main objective. And as also outlined, the principles in this deal is also about bringing an end to the political problems through political solutions. This is African Union-led peace process. Ethiopia is committed to the African Union process, and it has been, under discussion for some time. The African Union has assigned the former president of Nigeria, His Excellency former President Obasanjo, to lead this process.
Right.
And after the culmination of all the discussions, the parties came to the discussion in Pretoria in South Africa and laid down the foundation for this peace process. As I indicated earlier, the peace agreement has many parts, one of which is a cessation of agreement. The second is the disarmament process.
Right, so many stakeholders, as you're saying.
And the international community has welcomed the agreement. And Ethiopians have welcomed the agreement because it brought a sigh of relief for many Ethiopians.
Right.
In the past 2 years, as you indicated at the beginning, Ethiopians have suffered because of the conflict.
Right.
And
it began shortly after the Ethiopian Prime Minister won Nobel Peace Prize for another peace deal. So the timetable here really creating much frustration on the Ethiopian side. Mr. Ambassador, at this point in time, can peace efforts still fail, or is it just a matter of finalizing the details?
Well, personally, I'm optimistic. And all Ethiopians have supported this. Well, there are some disgruntled groups who will remain to be a challenge to this process, but the government has expressed its commitment. And my Prime Minister today, in his address to the Parliament, has clearly stated that we're committed to peace. Peace is a precious commodity for us.
And before we let you go, Mr. Ambassador, what is the next step, hopefully post-peace deal? What is next for Ethiopia in this respect?
Well, Ethiopia is a country with great potentials.
No doubt.
Our main objective is to develop our country and create all possible conditions for our people to change the way of life.
Yeah.
We have been devastated by the conflict, and now we have a future prospect, and the prospect is a bright future, and we believe that the peace deal will be implemented.